We've always had room in our hearts for film and TV, not just on Netflix, but tape and disc in theaters. Also, God forbid that they take it all away and leave us nothing to broadcast to loyal listeners. We'll binge watch every single movie, so you don't have to. What else are we here for? Coming to you every week. Listen to us while you're busy. Luckily, we forgot to grow up. Hey everybody, it's Craig.
Hey, it's Scott.
Hey, it's Andrew.
Welcome to episode number 79 of the Forgot to Grow Up podcast. On this week's episode, we are going to talk about Shazam. It came out by the time this episode airs, and by the time we recorded this episode, I think.
Yeah, it'll be out a week by the time this episode comes out.
Oh, so everybody's had a chance to watch it. So I guess we'll still throw in the spoilers if any of us have seen it. We'll just throw that in right now. Fair warning.
Yeah. Spoilers.
I haven't seen it.
I don't think that comes to a surprise to our listeners.
Surprise!
Nope.
You know what I've seen. I haven't seen that.
What a loser.
Yeah, well, I just watched the trailer like 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I thought it looked okay. So let me start.
Yeah, start with your general thoughts, and then we'll tell you
I'm
what
gonna
it goes
take the
from
lead.
there, because we're going to be spoiling the entire movie for you.
That's
Oh,
fine.
yeah.
I don't care.
I know.
So I went into it going, this looks really stupid with the very little that I had seen,
That's fair.
since I hadn't really seen anything. Just some promotional material, I think, at the most. No trailers or anything like that, because I don't care. So I went into it thinking, this is stupid. I'm never going to want to see this. And then came out of it going, this actually looks like it'd be pretty entertaining. Maybe I'll see it.
Well, you were right about the entertaining part.
Yeah. Hopefully after listening to Scott and I dish on it, you'll continue to want to go see it.
I don't know about go see it, but I will
Yeah,
see it.
you will
I said
see it
want to
eventually.
go see it. You'll continue to want to go see it.
All right, that's all I got. It looks entertaining enough.
Okay, imagine the amount of laughs, for me anyways, like of Deadpool, like forcing the jokes, but also with the fun, upbeat attitude of Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 1.
Interesting.
That's a really good comparison, I think.
Like, it's very clean jokes.
Yes. It's very family friendly.
Very family friendly. They have a few, like, off the cuff, but there's still no language. There's no, like, visual. It's just, like, they'll make a comment and you'll be able to picture it, and you're like, haha. But very family friendly, but super enjoyable. Even my apprentice, who likes to argue with me over movies because he thinks he knows more than me, get the fuck out of here. He went and saw it, and he gave it 8.4, I think he said, which is pretty high on his scale.
That's a weirdly specific number.
He-
How do you come up with decimals in your?
He does.
I particularly
He
think
does.
it's like arbitrary, because it's like, well, you're just making the number up. If he had like a chart that he was using, I'd respect it a
Average
little
it out
more.
across 10 different categories. And
Exactly.
Comes up with 8.4. I'd
Yeah,
believe it.
he's got a bar graph. He has a bar graph.
Yeah, if something kind of thing like that, I would be like, okay, I get your
Anyways,
number, but
He said that he really enjoyed it, which he wasn't expecting to. And truthfully, I kind of went into it being like, I'm going to support this. It's DC. I love Shazam and the cartoons and the comics. I don't expect it to do well. And now I really hope that it does well. I have this gut feeling it's not going to break $1 billion.
oh no,
But
definitely not.
like, because of who it's competing with this month.
Yes.
But I think if it came out in March, there was a chance.
Yeah, if it come out a little sooner, it might have.
I think if it came out a month ago, I think there would have been a chance it could break it.
But I was watching a review actually for Shazam, ironically enough. I don't know if that's actually ironic. But yeah, I was watching it, and they were talking about how next weekend, I believe, is Easter weekend. So that's before Endgame comes out. So it might see a little boost then, before
We can hope.
Yeah, before
Honestly,
it's just
if
completely dead.
it makes it to 750, I will be shocked and I will be very happy. And this is one of those movies that if they never tied it into anything Justice League, I'd be okay with it. But I also really want to see a sequel down the road. Not like 2 years from now, but like 3 to 4, I'd be okay with it.
They've already confirmed the sequel.
Yeah, like 3 to 4 years from now would be pretty sweet.
Like 2 days ago, they confirmed it. It's The Rock, I believe, is supposed to be in that one. Black Adam's supposed to be coming into the story and all that fun stuff. But that's not about this movie.
Speaking of which, I liked how they kind of referenced that character though.
Yeah, and that's all we got. Was this little like nod to him. Yeah.
Talking about he gave his powers, or the wizard Shazam gave his powers to his champion, and then he succumbed to the 7 sins.
Yeah,
I like that they showed like the black silhouette of him, and they never give you a name just in case.
I like that too.
Freaking loved it. I really hope. I don't know if you've seen. I don't think you have the DC short stories. I've talked about it. Like they give you a quick origin story of Shazam. Okay. And it's Billy Batson sitting at a table eating breakfast with Clark Kent. Clark Kent is like writing a story on this kid, and now he's on his own, but he's a teenager, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And then like he gets chased by these bullies because he told these bullies to fuck right off, in kid terms.
Yes.
And then he runs down the subway stairs, gets on this train, and then he gets like zapped into Shazam world, where the wizard gives him his powers. And then Black Adam crashes down to Earth in like meteor fashion. He got zapped to the other end of the galaxy, and it took him forever. I don't know if it was like 10,000 years or whatever it was. It took him a long ass time to fly back. And I really want to see that as the origin story of Black Adam. Like
that would be
it happened, so the wizards, like all 7 of them, whatever, had to send him away, and the only way to do that was for them to sacrifice themselves.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like
I'd like to see that as the story of it, not I forget what it is, but like the middle of nowhere Egypt-like country that Black Adam rules in some of the comics. I prefer like the ancient let's send him away version better.
That's fair. We should probably talk more about this movie in particular.
Yeah, well, I was trying to tie it in.
Yeah, no, I got that. I was just trying to bring us back.
What was your favorite part of this movie?
I like that I was not annoyed by the kids. That was the part that I was going into.
I was shocked by it too, because fuck the kid actors.
Yeah, normally kid actors can be like pretty annoying. Lately, they've been better in movies. I'll grant that. Hollywood is something I think we've brought up a few times, or I've at least brought up a few times, because it is something that it does stick out to me when the child actors just don't fit into the movie, right? And these ones,
like, for instance, in Aquaman, they give you teenage Arthur Curry, and I hated that guy. Loved Arthur Curry, but the teenage version of him is possibly the worst actor I've ever seen, and that he is worse than a lot of porn actors that I've seen. Are you saying that they killed her because of me? Like, worst actor ever. But these kids were actually decent. Like the kid who played Freddy, like maybe it was because I can compare myself to his excitement about the superheroes and living in that that society with them. He's just as pumped as I would have been.
Oh yeah, same here.
Then Billy Batson being like a super just grim, like fuck life shit. Like I get it.
Yeah, and just like literally being almost like cliche kind of.
And I like that they didn't overuse the foster family. I'm not going to talk too much about them, but I'm glad they didn't overuse them throughout the first couple quarters, I'll call them, of the movie.
First 2 acts.
Yeah, no, they're quarters. They
I can't use the football terms now.
Yep.
It's the first 3 quarters.
Yep. I like that they weren't overused. Like, you knew they were there. You knew enough about them to be like, okay, well, this is his foster family. Mm-hmm. And that was it.
Yeah, and they weren't super over, like... Yeah, no, you got good doses of each of them, but you also learned about each of them enough, like their personalities and how they all kind of fit into this family. But they also didn't linger on that stuff too long either.
Yeah,
so
they weren't like, you don't need to follow them. Yeah. I think they did a good job of, like, a little bit of a flash in the pan. Just enough to lead to like the big bang at the end.
Yeah, which I wasn't expecting with that. Are we going to spoil it? Can we spoil it? I just want to spoil it.
I want to spoil it. Yeah. I don't know if... Craig, are you going to go see it? Be real with us.
Like right now? No.
Okay, cool.
Do I care if you spoil it? Absolutely not.
So Digimon Hunsu is the wizard Shazam. And he hits Billy with this line like, I'm opening my heart to you. You now have all the powers, whatever. Gives him the power of Shazam.
Yes.
And then at the end of the movie, Mark Strong tracks down Billy Batson because he finds out who he is, threatens his family, and he has to take Billy back to the Wizard Shazam's realm to get the staff so he can give the powers of Shazam to Mark Strong. So he goes in, and then his family kind of like sneaks in to follows him, rescues him kind of. They all run away, and then he's got the staff. So then a little bit of a topsy-turvy fight happens, and Billy Batson has the realization, like those words that were uttered to him at the beginning of the movie, they come full circle, like they do in every superhero movie.
Yeah, it's a
Comes for full circle where his heart is open to share the powers of Shazam. So he tells his foster siblings to grab the staff, and he's like, say my name. And they're all like, Billy! And nothing fucking happens, which is a fantastic joke.
That was hilarious,
Like,
which
it
I
was,
realized
like,
that
it's
was
such a
actually
clean
in a
joke,
trailer.
but it just so goofy.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, say the name that I used to turn into this guy. So they say it. And then all these kids become like Shazam, except they only have
They
like
become
one
the
of
Shazam
his
family.
powers.
Yeah.
Yeah. They only have like one of his powers. But it was so cool because I remember reading something about it when they first were announcing the cast. But I totally forgot, so I wasn't expecting to see any like other Shazam family members.
I wasn't expecting it at all. Like I was maybe thinking like the post credit would be that. I thought that's
Yeah.
what it would be. I did not expect it. So that surprise for me.
I didn't
is,
expect
like,
20 minutes of them either. Which
Yeah,
was
I didn't expect
sweet.
the whole last like fight being the Shazam family. I was not. I thought that was gonna be like a second movie thing. I was not ready for it, but I was so happy it happened.
I think they did a good job of casting like just hunky enough, but not being like over the top. Like they found a good way to be like, yeah, Zachary Levi is our lead. He is our super hunk. And all these other people, like they're just good looking enough. Like the guy who played, what was his name?
There's a lot of those. They're
Was
all but
it-
one of those.
Yeah, Pedro, like the super buff green one. Like I liked him because he was just super jacked. He's like, oh, I'm beautiful. And then the guy, Freddy, the one who has something, he uses the cane crutch thing. He can fly. I like that it was was it Brody? Not Sam Brody.
Yeah, he's the one I was like, oh, I've seen you in something.
Yeah,
I can't
Adam
remember
Brody.
what.
Yeah,
There
he's
you
been
go.
in a lot of stuff that I've watched lately, and I was like, wow, that is a really good casting. Comparing the kid to him, like
Yeah.
I could see it. I could see it being the kid
Definitely.
like
Oh, I agree.
25 years down the road.
I thought all the kids did a great job. Oh, Billy and what was his name?
Freddie.
Freddie, right? Yeah, Freddie.
Yeah.
I thought they like both did a great job of like kind of emulating who their adult selves were, and vice versa in a sense. Like they felt like
Yeah.
the same person. Like, yep,
Yeah.
that's like grown up version of him in a sense. And so like especially with Billy and Shazam, I was like, oh no, you guys. I felt like they were the same characters. So
Yeah.
that was really great.
That was probably one of the best final fight scenes that I can think of.
I might have to give
In
that
a lot
to
of
DC's
movies.
like it might be DC's best, especially.
Yeah, like the 3-on-1 fight in Batman versus Superman was pretty cool. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
Sweet.
it's a lot of.
However, having like 8 on 6, like, and the fact that they didn't really have any faceless goons in this one.
Yeah.
Like there was no faceless army. It was all like the actual sins who they spoke.
Yeah,
Like
they
they
were demon
existed.
things, yeah.
And they all had different powers and they all just did shit. Like that was sweet.
Yeah, no, they were a good choice in villains, which I'd also never. I don't know anything really about Shazam from the comics other than like the little glimpses I've got of him from like a couple movies.
Yeah, see that's why I've never really read much comic wise on him, but I've seen a lot of him in either Justice League or Young Justice,
Yeah, exactly.
or like cartoons and other like animated,
yeah, the animated stuff. Yeah.
And I really liked him.
Yeah, I've
Like,
always liked his
beforehand.
character, but I didn't know anything about his background. I didn't know who his villains and stuff were. So that was
Yeah.
a nice surprise for me going into this, being like,
Yeah.
I have no idea who, like, what's going on. So it was really like, well, this is probably one of the first superheroes where I learned a lot about the character from the movie that I
Yeah.
didn't know anything about. Like, I knew the basics, like he says Shazam. He used to be called Captain Marvel, which I liked that. I didn't actually notice this until, again, I watched a review for it after, but they don't ever actually give him his name. in the movie, and I like.
Yeah, he
and-
just says the word, and they keep giving him like other ridiculous things.
Yeah, and I
Captain
thought that was-
Sparkle Fingers.
in the review I'd watched, kind of thought that might have been because as like a joke to the fact that he was called.
He is
Marvel
Captain
at one
Marvel,
point.
and
Yeah.
he is in some recent animated stuff too. Like
Yeah,
I
they
think
go
there's
back
like
and forth
I
so
think
much
there's like
with it, it's
I think there's a weird rule that they're allowed to use it in like certain context.
Yeah.
Like if they use a certain plot line, they're allowed to call him Captain Marvel or something.
I think they're allowed to call the character Captain Marvel, but they can't put Captain Marvel on like
On
a
something,
cover.
yeah,
like
that
the
makes
cover of
sense.
something. So
Yeah.
it's like it always has to be called Shazam. And
Yeah,
then it's
because
like,
in that animated story, like the short I was
Yeah.
talking about, his name is Captain Marvel, but he says Shazam,
Yes.
obviously. But they call it like Shazam, like that's DC Shazam.
yeah, it's a whole thing.
But
But yeah, I like that they kind of played with that a little bit by not actually calling him anything when he was in Shazam form.
yeah,
I like that.
he was just a superhero.
Yeah, exactly. And they never end up giving him a name.
Yeah.
I like how much they kind of focus on the fact that he was on TV and stuff too. Like,
Yeah, I kind of like that he was there, like he just showed up, and people are like, oh yeah, he can do stuff. He's got powers.
yeah, because it just kind of fits into the world. That's, Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman are already running around in Aquaman and
Yeah.
stuff. So it's
Well,
like,
I
this is
also-
another one.
Yeah, I also really like that they stuck with Philadelphia. Like they reference Fawcett City, but then they just go right to he's in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Like they don't have to create this fake city or anything like that. They're just like, screw it, we're here.
There's enough big cities in
Yeah.
the U.S. now that it's like, well, why not give us each superhero
Yeah.
their own city? It's like,
Oh,
why
legitimate city, yeah.
Not? Yeah,
Or
exactly.
then
A real
they
city.
bust out the Rocky, like the
Yeah.
Rocky reference. Like, man, I get why he wanted to run up these stairs now.
Yeah, there's some. I really enjoyed like the humor in this. I was worried that the trailers had all the best jokes. That happens a lot with certain movies.
Yeah.
But this one had plenty of extra laughs on top of it, so I really enjoyed that aspect to it
Well,
too.
I laughed too hard. Like I was the only one laughing like 30 seconds after everyone else stopped. In the final fight where they're flying through the sky and then they're like on either sides of a building and then Mark Strong keeps flying at Shazam but stopped. And they're like a block away from each other.
Oh, the
and Mark
shouting.
Strong starts giving him the evil villain monologue. And
block
Billy's
away.
Shazam, he's up in the sky and he's like, I can't hear you, man. You're like a mile away. What are you saying right now? And then Mark Strong just keeps going, just keeps monologuing it. So, are you monologuing right now? Like I laughed too hard
Yeah,
at
that
that part.
was a hilarious scene. I'm glad they didn't spoil that at all too. That's what I
Yeah.
mean. Like that's one of those jokes that I'm like, I'm glad I didn't get that. See, we ruined it for Craig though. But
It's fine.
That's fine. Like that. Oh, there was just so many good, or even like the Santa Claus bits where they kept bringing him back. Totally unnecessary, but it also kind of fed into the fact that it is a funny movie.
yeah, no, I like that. It's a recurring bit. I think he came in 3 times. That's a rule of comedy.
Yeah, the rule of 3.
Yeah.
No, this is a very enjoyable movie, and I thought from watching the trailer that all the good stuff was there, like the bus scene
Yeah.
where they break it down, they give you the whole bus scene,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, man, like that's probably it.
Yeah, no, I was
Like,
worried that there was
that's
gonna
about
be
as good as it
nothing,
gets.
yeah. But they've had plenty on top of that to like.
Well, it looked like in the movie they also kind of slimmed him down a little bit, because in the trailers I thought he looked really cartoonish, like I thought he looked like too big, and just the color
Yeah.
of his costume like made him look like fake, like balloon water muscle jacked. Like that certain guy we went to high school with, #creatine muscles. Like he kind of looked like that, like really watery and
Yeah,
balloony.
Michelin Man. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, fuck, he's gonna look ridiculous. But he actually looked a little more svelte and streamlined. Like he looked jacked.
Yeah, no, he
but
looked
like it looked
legit,
more
yeah.
proportionate.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I also like they didn't rush into the flying thing. Like he just happened to learn how to fly through it. I liked that aspect of it as well.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Well,
he
it
kinda
pops
was-
into my head.
It was a fun thing, him trying to discover what powers he actually had.
Yeah. Or I like that they gave you the little montage of like
yeah,
all their-
I love a montage.
like
yeah.
teleportation, fire immunity.
Yeah. No, it was good. I really liked it's Mark Strong, right? That was the villain?
Mark Strong, yeah, I fucking love that guy. I also found in this movie, like it kind of opened my eyes. DC has legitimate like evil threat supervillains, like ones who are just flat out evil.
Yeah, no.
Like
this guy just wanted he just wanted power that he was kind of rejected from.
yeah,
and that's what
like the
turned him
fact that he
evil.
just picks his brother up and whips him out of the window. Like I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting some like him to like break his arm or something. I wasn't expecting whoosh, and just throw him out the friggin' window.
Yeah.
Like Steppenwolf, like just he wants to destroy Earth. That's his goal, is to destroy the Earth.
Conquer and yeah.
You get Ares in Wonder Woman, who like that was his goal, was just to spread darkness and evil and hate.
War, yeah.
You know, yeah, legitimate evil.
Yeah.
Okay, Lex Luthor was just fucking crazy in Batman vs Superman. Didn't like the actor. Not a huge fan of Eisenberg. However, Lex Luthor in general, like what his mission was dark.
Just evil.
Like Zod was probably arguably the only one who wasn't an evil villain.
Well,
in this,
he didn't want to cause a genocide of Earth.
Well, yeah, but he was also trying to save his own people. So like I give him kind of like
causing a genocide.
Yeah. I kind of put him on like the same level as Thanos, where like he's doing something real bad, but he's also doing it for like a reason. Like it could be spun as a good reason.
Well, that's
just like
we won't get into the Zod
like
argument
Killmonger,
right now.
like
Yeah.
Killmonger. You know, he's doing something
yeah.
that's shitty, but he's also like he's doing it from a good place.
Yeah.
He's just going about it the wrong way. So like DC's villains have evolved into this, like they're actual villains. Like I feel like there's an actual threat to the world watching it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely, I agree with that.
And finally seeing some magic in DC is pretty cool too, because I feel like their magic is, to me anyways, is a little more different than Marvel magic.
Yeah,
Marvel magic is more like visual reality stuff, whereas there's like legitimate like spells and shit. You see in like DC's cartoons or their comics and stuff.
Yeah,
I just want to see Zatanna now. Give me some Zatanna.
The other times we brought up Zatanna is just probably
But it's got to be Smallville's Zatanna. Has to be.
From that exact era too.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I think she could still fit into the role.
Okay, but anything else we have to say about Shazam?
Go see it. Let's get it up to 750.
Which one of us has this on our?
I was just thinking that. I'm about to check.
Because I know Andrew's killing it so far with Captain Marvel, which did really well.
Let's see. Fantasy draft picks. I have Shazam.
You have Shazam. I was worried about that.
Okay. I have Endgame, Captain Marvel, Frozen 2. I took Frozen 2 over Shazam.
Yeah, I had a couple of those too. I was like, wait, why did I take like Lion King before Captain Marvel or something like that? I was like, okay, well, that's...
Okay, Toy Story 4 was your first draft pick, Scott.
Was it? Oh,
yeah.
See, this is what I'm talking about. I'm like, where's my head sometimes?
Man, guys, I think I'm
you
gonna be Scott this year.
Well, Endgame is a kind of, is one of those ones that's like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like that. Endgame is a guaranteed billion. No questions asked. Captain Marvel is coming up on it.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Well, it did $1 billion worldwide, and I don't know if I can't remember if we decided if we were just doing just domestic again.
I think we're doing just domestic.
Yeah, so domestic, it was still doing pretty well. It was like, I believe it's almost at 500 domestic.
Yeah.
So I can't remember exactly. But yeah, so Shazam, it was good. Go see it.
Not even just for selfish reasons. Just go see it.
Never for selfish reasons.
Never. Because just go see it for Mark Strong. Go do it, because that guy is freaking awesome.
And smart young actors, because there's a lot of them in this.
Absolutely. And what's his face, Brody. I want to call him Michael Brody, but I know that's not it. Dean Brody? Is that right?
Dean Brody. Dean Brody's the country artist. That was the first thing I went to.
Yeah. Dean Cain? Is that fucking Dean Cain?
I'm waiting for that cameo to pop up in one of the movies.
Yeah.
It's popped up in the TV shows, I think.
Yeah. Bring in another Superman. Speaking of which, I'm not going to bring it up. Never mind.
Yeah. It's not really much to say. I think we both feel the same about it.
I was reading a thing that apparently they wanted to use, what's his face?
Yeah, but apparently it's scheduling. didn't
But
quite
yeah,
work.
scheduling thing was off, and I was like, I don't think he'd want to do it anyways. If you guys weren't gonna like bring him back, why would he just show up?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm hoping he's still kicking around. That's what I'm hoping.
yeah, like I hope, yeah, like I don't want to see anyone else's Superman. Like I don't want to see a Superboy. Like I don't want to see anything rebooted at this point. Just keep jamming shit in,
Yeah.
wedge it in, make it work.
Yeah, just keep putting it off if you have to. Like I'll take an older Superman. Like
Yeah.
Henry Cavill's gonna stay. Like he's gonna age like a fine wine, I imagine.
Yeah,
With all those Superman millions that he already has.
that's it. Yeah,
He takes very good care of himself too. I see him on Instagram running
Yeah.
all the time, and I'm like, God, I need to run. Superman runs. Why don't I run?
and there's no better Batman. There isn't than Ben Affleck. Bring in whoever you want, and I'm not gonna believe in it anymore.
Well, that's the direction they seem to be going, but I still have a certain like little bit of like, I wonder if they'll do a little thing where it's like, oh, Ben Affleck's like have a little flashback memory, and then that's how they introduce a younger one, and but I don't know. It's my own little dream.
If you're gonna do a younger Batman, you have to go. You can't use Bruce Wayne. You got to go Dick Grayson. You got to go.
See, or like that'd be another way. Like if
you're
Ben
gonna use
Affleck
a young Batman,
literally passes it on to
yeah.
a Dick Grayson Nightwing, who then becomes Batman, I'd be down for that as well.
Yeah, like I think you'd have to do like a little short, and it would have to be like kind of like Death in the Family style, but instead of Death in the Family, it's the death of Batman, and then it's just the whole Bat family, all of them together. Batwing, Nightwing, Robin, Red Robin, like everyone right there talking about who's going to take up the mantle, and then like figure it out from there. Like that's the only way I'm going to get on board for
I think
this.
we've dove into a little too, what's it called? Wish fulfillment, dream fantasy.
Yeah, wishful thinking, man.
Yeah.
Wishful thinking. But
anyways,
that's it.
Yeah. Craig, what did you watch this week since we talked about Shazam so much?
So, before we did the podcast today, in my copious free time between work and this, I started the Trailer Park Boys animated series.
Nice.
Gross.
I started that.
I have not finished the live action, but I figured I was going to switch it up. It's clearly not a show where you need to have any background knowledge.
No, that's one great thing about it. You can hop in any season, and they get you caught up on like what each of the characters is. But that's about it. You don't need to know what happened in season 1 to watch season 9 or to watch this.
Exactly. So I started that. It's fun. What I like about it is that it's animated like it's just a cartoon version of the of the original show. So it's not like they just made an animated show. They made an animated version of the show.
Yeah.
So like the frame moves around and it shifts like it's being shot by documentary makers. I like it. It's good.
Yeah, it looked from the bits I've caught from my brother watching it, I liked the little bits of it. I like that. I believe that they know they're in a cartoon in this one too.
Because they start off like the whole thing is that they start off in jail and they've just eaten a ton of mushrooms.
There it is.
Like
Yeah.
we're so high we think that we're in a cartoon.
Nice.
And
See, and I just
then
like
they're
that kind of
in a
thing.
cartoon. Yeah,
I like
it
that kind
was-
of premise. So.
It is interesting. I finished Arrested Development. It's finally over.
Was that the final season?
If they come back with something else, I'll be shocked because that was like it was a long episode. It was almost an hour, which is long for
Comedy.
Arrested Development, and it kind of tied everything together. But it was crazy. I haven't finished a television show and had like shock on my face before, but I was shocked finishing this. Like I didn't even know what to say.
Well, now I'm slightly curious about it, but I also have no context for the show very much at all. So.
You don't really need a whole lot of context. If you're gonna watch it, if you just watch the whole 5th season, you'll be as caught up as you need to be. There are some jokes that are necessary, but for the most part, you can just skip right past them. It was crazy. It was just like it took a couple turns, and then you're like, oh, this makes sense. It's wrapping up like Arrested Development, and they were like, no, it's not. And jaw hit floor. I was just like, what?
Huh.
And then they played the end credits. Like, okay.
Huh. Yeah, I can't remember the last time I had a show do that to me, so that's intriguing.
Certainly not a show that I've finished, like, all the way through. Although, what was that one about the Montreal...
Yeah. Fuck, I can't remember. That one was fuck.
That one too was right up there with what?
Oh man, that was a great show.
Is that Bad Blood?
Yes,
think
that's what it was. Yeah,
I
Bad
remember
Blood.
you guys
Yeah,
talking about that.
yeah, with Kim Coates.
Yeah, like that show would have been about the closest thing to that. Maybe you could throw the first season of The Good Place in there too.
Yeah, that was a pretty solid first season ending. Bad Blood, yeah.
Yeah, with the way that it twisted. So those three shows, very similar in the way that they caught me off guard. And then the last thing I watched, because it was a light week, at least I think it was a light week, I can't remember, was Kevin Hart's new special.
I've been meaning to get to that.
I fell asleep like 15 minutes into it, and I didn't laugh once leading in.
And I had to watch it twice. It was.
Did you choose to watch it twice?
Yes, because
or?
I didn't really pay attention the first time through. So we watched it twice. By choice, both times. And Kevin Hart is not my thing. Kevin Hart is still not my thing. I believe I've said on this podcast before, I will say it again, I don't like comedy in large arenas.
No.
It
fair.
doesn't carry the same thing, because in that kind of venue, it's just Kevin Hart standing on a stage talking.
Yeah.
So you might as well have just recorded it in the middle of a desert like Harlan Williams did.
Yeah.
But with other comedians, I mean, some of the theaters are pretty large that they play to, but they can still have interactions with the audience members, because theaters are designed to be a lot closer together, a lot more intimate.
Mm-hmm.
But these arenas, or these stadiums, because it looked like it was somewhere in London, huge. And the stage was pretty far back, and he was in the round, which is a weird way to do comedy. And I don't know, he's pretty funny. I laughed at some parts, but he's still really not my cup of tea. There's one joke he does. I feel like I'm not going to ruin this for anybody. He does. It takes friggin' forever. It's like 20 minutes to do this entire thing. He does a joke about how his house has been broken into, and so he like hides guns in different hidden spots around the house.
Yeah.
And then the whole idea is that if someone breaks in again, and he's got these scenarios where he'll be able to get the hidden gun and turn it on them. But he does like 6 of them. Like, it's so stupid. And they're
examples.
like 30 to 45 seconds long each, and it's the exact same thing every single time. And then he gets to the last one, and he's crying laughing. He's like, I'm sorry, this is my favorite joke. I'm like, why'd you wait till the last? Like, do 2 of these. Do one, and then do the second one. And then he does, like, he finishes the joke with, well, of course, when they broke in, I wasn't in the room where
I had a gun.
I wasn't in the room where I had a gun. So he went into several examples of, well, are you sure you don't want to go to, like, the guest bathroom? Or we could go have some leftover. It was stupid. And then there's one joke that he does about how he loves his dog, but, like, one day he woke up and the dog had shit on the floor. And so then he was like, well, I'm not going to worry about that. Went back to bed. And then his wife got up and she found it. And she's like, oh, the dog shit on the floor. And he's like, oh, did he? And then she cleans it up because she's already up. And so that's funny because it's like, haha, he, avoided it and whatever. Then he does this really long, stupid joke about a baby who can move their diaper to the side and is able to shit on the floor. And then it ties into that because his wife's like, I saw that she did it, but I pretended to sleep. So it was like the same joke the other way.
Twice.
It's not any funnier for him to do it
Yeah.
This is the one time where I'm not gonna finish this with, but it's way funnier when he does it, because it's not.
No.
Yeah.
I really liked him when we were younger and stupid.
Yeah, it's weird how I've grown out
Like,
of him in the last like 4 years.
But I still enjoy him in things.
Yeah.
Like his persona, his character that he plays in everything. I like that.
Yeah,
Like,
I like
it's
him in, like
entertaining.
Jumanji and stuff
Like,
like
yeah,
that,
like his Jumanji. That's like he's that in everything. Just that
Yeah.
real short, small dude who's like, I could be tough sometimes, but I'm not. Like, I like that in movies because they're usually stupid comedies that you're just like, okay, I need to relax. I need to watch something that's gonna numb my mind. But to sit down and watch him tell jokes now, I'm kind of like, okay, you've Dane cooked yourself.
We've
You
learned-
were the biggest in the world for years.
Yeah,
And now we realize all your jokes are bullshit.
and the same. I learned the formula to his jokes, right? Like I bet he had a joke
Yeah.
where he had a weird interaction with an animal in the set. I believe it probably was his fourth joke, probably. Because
Not that Scott knows.
I haven't watched it yet, but I've watched his other ones enough that I've come back to realizing like how repetitive his stuff can kind of be. He just switches out there's his two biggest specials right up to date. One had the what's it called, the ostrich joke, and then the other one had
The dolphin.
the dolphin, and then there was one more animal one in one of his other ones. But yeah, like he's always got some weird thing, and I was like,
Raccoon.
Did
you say the raccoon?
I didn't. So there's the raccoon. There we
Raccoon,
go.
where he's like pop pop or
Yeah.
bang bang.
Yeah, that was
He
the
shot me
first one,
twice.
actually. Yeah, I think that was
Yeah.
actually one of his first ones. So
No,
Like-
that was in his last one.
was it the last one? Okay, my
Yeah.
bad. I'm getting them all
That
mixed up. 'cause
yeah,
they're all
that big arena one he did.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah, now I'm remembering now. So, but yeah, like I've kind of picked up on his formula for comedy a little bit, which I'm like, ooh, I shouldn't be able to do that. I'm not like a comic. Or
It's his
anything like
voice.
that.
He has
Yeah.
he has a voice and a cadence.
Yep, and that's I've learned it too much that I'm like,
It's like
because I've
Steve
watched this
Byrne,
stuff so much,
Dane
it's-
Cook.
Yeah, just pick
Like
up on it.
they have a cadence.
Yeah, which is a lot of
And
what
then
their
they lean
funny
on
is.
that.
Yeah.
It's not like Nate Bargatze where his cadence is just talking, or
Yeah, just
Tom Segura where he's like, "Fuck."
sounds
Bert-
like Tom
like-
Segura's talking to you
Yeah,
on a personal level.
yeah. Or Robin Williams, where he's just crazy.
So,
Yeah, a little manic.
just because you reminded me, fuck, what was I listening to?
I don't know. I'm listening to my cat try to bury a piece of paper on the floor.
I was listening to Planet Money, and they were talking about like the episode's called The Joke Thief, and it was a whole podcast episode they did on Fuck Jerry, that media company that did
Yeah.
the
Okay.
festival and
Yep.
whatnot, and they've been under fire for
Stealing
stealing
memes.
jokes on Instagram and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yep.
So there was an interview with like a content creator who had their stuff stolen, and like she had like 200 interactions, and the guy made like $10,000 off of it. And they did an interview with him, but then they were also talking about joke stealing in the stand-up comedy world.
Yeah.
You know who steals fucking jokes, or who did?
Amy Schumer.
No, see, Amy Schumer was sketchy at best. Robin Williams was a known,
Yeah, that's what
And
I've heard
had
that
a
since.
huge reputation for stealing jokes.
I
I've
believe
heard
it. I
that,
still stand by him though, because his deliverance on things like
Well, the guy they interviewed that was saying he's like been in the comedy game for like 30 years, worked in New York City, and used to
yeah,
try to get these joke stealers out of the club, so you don't do your best bits in front of the joke stealers, obviously.
obviously.
And he's like, yeah, well, I found out because Robin Williams stole one of my jokes, but he did better than I could have ever done it. So like he gets a little bit of credit. And I was like, yeah, okay. Well,
Yeah, I mean, like that's the only reason I'm willing to give him a pass. Like Jim Gaffigan is notorious as well for having bits that you've heard 3 years prior just pop up and him doing like the exact same joke, just
Yeah.
change like 3 words in it.
It's hard to
Once you hear the bit somewhere else, you're like, wow,
part of it
crushed.
Part of it was because that was part of the interview as well, was that there's no way to like copyright any of this stuff,
You can't.
and it's really hard to get on other people for ideas.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
you
most
can't-
jokes are born from like a real life experience or just absolute ridiculousness, right?
Exactly. So it's really hard to prove that a joke has been stolen because
Well, it's like intellectual property, right?
it's not hard to come up with the same
Parallel
same-
thinking, yeah.
this-
to connect
it's-
the same dots, right?
Exactly. It's not hard to come up with the same thoughts. So unless there's some way to tie you to it, see Robin Williams sitting in a club and then going out and doing a joke, it's a lot harder to prove that someone has actually stolen a joke versus the parallel thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the whole part of the discussion. But saying
I
Robin
believe it.
Williams
Okay.
jogged my memory of that.
Anyone who does a joke about a Scottish GPS system gets a pass in my book, because that is still one of the funniest bits I've ever heard, and I reference it annually. It's like, there's your turn. You missed it, you idiot. Love it. Always. Anytime I see a Scottish tartan, I think of it.
So that's all I watched this week.
That's fair. Scott, what did you watch this week?
All right. Well, I also had a fairly short list besides, all my normal stuff that I don't really talk about because who needs to hear me talk about Stargate for the 80th time?
I do.
All right. Well, I'm on season 3 of Stargate, and I still love
Nice.
it. I can't wait to keep watching more. But I have
Okay,
to,
I'm tired. Keep it going.
yeah, there we go. See, I had to put myself on hold so I can watch other things. Amongst those were I watched season 2 of Sabrina. I know you guys don't care about that, but I binge watched that season. For any of our listeners who do care, you can go watch my video on YouTube. YouTube plug. Yeah, so what else did I watch? I also watched The Unicorn Store, which is a new Netflix
I added it to my
original.
queue. How was that?
I actually really enjoyed it. I
you?
wasn't sure exactly what to expect going into it. I literally, the only reason I watched this because Captain Marvel's in it, along with Nick Fury, and I'm like, curious what you two are doing.
Honestly, I saw that and I was kind of like, did they cast that as like an attraction somehow?
I feel
to
like
the
they maybe
movie?
just filmed it in between, or
Like,
just
in
like right
sequence?
after. Like they were maybe talking about it because I believe she directed it, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah, so she did like directed or produced it, and so
She's
like,
an Oscar winner. She can do whatever the fuck she wants.
exactly. So I think she had it in mind, and then probably while they were doing Captain Marvel together, maybe she was like, "Oh, you'd fit this role," and I thought he did a really great job in the role he fits. It is a weird concept because, you hear
he looks like
unicorn
glass
stories.
in it, like in the picture they use
Yeah, he's
on Netflix. He looks
crazier
like
than that.
glass. He's
crazier
what?
He's crazier than that. He's legit
Okay.
a unicorn salesman. Like when you see
At a
the
unicorn store.
at a unicorn store.
Interesting.
Unicorns aren't real in this universe, but
he sells them. But he's
he
selling
sells
them.
them, and she wants one 'cause she's wanted one her whole life. And that's what this movie is about: her proving herself worthy to Sam Jackson, that she's worthy of ownership of said unicorn.
This seems like an SNL short.
Honestly,
skit.
it's really great. Actually, I really enjoy it.
Okay.
It's pretty much just a
It's
story
in my
about this.
queue.
It's about this. It's a little bit about kind of growing up, but also not losing who you are, right? Like not changing
Okay.
who you are in the inside
Yeah.
to grow up, right? Because at the beginning she just like failed out of art school, and so she's kind of like failed artist, and so
Yeah.
her parents are like, oh, you got to do something. So she ends up getting like an office job, and you see her kind of like starting to like do the humdrum thing of just being a normal drone in society, and then she's given this invitation to go to the unicorn store, and then from there you have these two kind of paths, right? Where she's like, oh, is she gonna follow her heart with the unicorn stuff, or is she going to just do what everybody else does and have an office job and do a 9 to 5 and all that stuff? And yeah, so it's about that, about her growth through it. So I really enjoyed it because it was kind of a normal person movie, and I was like, oh, this is different. This is what these things are about. I get it, okay, but at the same time, there's a unicorn store, so I'd recommend it. It was enjoyable. She's delightful to just kind of watch as she's just being all, I don't want to say childlike, but kind of, what's the word? Like, I just can't figure out the word, but yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I feel like you both would enjoy it as well.
It's like I said, it's in my queue.
Yeah.
I'll give it a try. I just browsing past it wouldn't have picked it.
No, that's fair. I would not normally, like, honestly, if the cast was any different, I would not have watched this movie. I only watched it because of those two, and I was like, okay, that got added to Netflix. I want to make a video review for it. Content. And so I was just like, okay, but I was surprised by how much I actually enjoyed it. I was going in expecting to be kind of like, okay, yeah, people being people stuff, but I liked how it took a different kind of take on, growing up a little bit in a sense. But yeah, no, it was really enjoyable. What else did I watch? I started Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5. You guys don't care about that. Oh, I watched the first 2 episodes of Doom Patrol, which is a DC show, which just got added to Crave.
How is it?
I like it.
Okay, it looks not as good as Titans, and I was like, shit.
I would say it's not as good as Titans. It's okay. One complaint I have a little bit about it is it kind of feels a little rushed. The first 2 episodes I watched, like the pilot felt like the whole time you just spend like getting introduced to each of the characters, and they spend a decent amount of time on it, which was enjoyable. It just felt kind of like a lot, and then you get to the second episode and stuff's already happening, and I'm like, okay, wait.
Okay.
It's kind of moving a little fast for me, and I'm like, okay, it was hard to kind of follow the dots at certain points with it. And I'm only 2 episodes in, so it's like, okay, it's a little rough with like the storytelling perspective, but I'm liking the cast so far. I'll watch Brandon Fraser do almost anything, so I'm down. So
That's fair.
yeah, it's going to be added an episode each week because it's on Space. Space is owned by Bell. Bell owns Crave. We get an episode each week. So, and that's all I watched this week.
Cool. Is that my turn?
That's your turn.
You guys ready for me to hit you with this?
Oh yeah.
Nice long list.
I watched Friends.
Okay, yeah. I think we talked about that before.
Yeah.
You're still watching Friends, I believe.
Still
right?
watching Friends.
Yeah. Okay. What season you
Yeah.
on?
I'm halfway through season 7.
Okay. All right.
I have been crushing it. I've watched like 130 episodes
Yeah. Well,
since
they
last
go by
week.
pretty quickly. The 20-minute
Yeah.
episode stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
Friends.
okay. It's nothing
Yeah.
special. There's a few moments where I'm like, haha. But a lot of it, I'm like, I kind of vaguely remember this episode, or I remember this storyline.
Yeah, I can't really watch Friends anymore because I watched it way too much in like high school, and now I
Yeah,
can do
I
word
watched
for
it all
word.
the time on City every night.
City
Because
and Omni.
we'd put that on and eat dinner. That was Friends every night.
Yeah,
So I'm like, I think that's why I remember a lot of it. But at the
yeah.
same time, I'm like, this is nothing special.
yeah,
I prefer How I Met Your Mother and Psych.
that's fair.
Cried when Monica proposed to Chandler. I knew they were getting married, but I still cried a little bit.
That's still,
Tears ran down my
yeah,
face.
That's still great.
You
That's
guys
a
know
great
how I do.
episode. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So what else on this long list of stuff you watched?
That's it.
Oh, that's it.
That's the
Oh,
list.
so,
I watched Shazam and I watched Friends.
oh, it's awkward. No,
Yeah,
knew that.
I watched 1 and like 5 minutes of happy endings, but I'm not going to consider that something I watched.
That's fair.
Because I ate dinner the first time we were watching it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. Like, that's a good joke. Like, the one character says something, like, she's talking about her parents and how they had her young. And she's like, yep, they were doing Shakespeare in the park and each other in the parking lot. And I thought that was one of the funniest
I like that.
jokes
I
I've
love
ever
that.
heard. And that's all I could tell you about that episode. And then
That's a
I
great
was
joke.
showering after going to see Shazam, and I went full on ass over tea kettle in the shower. Hurt like a motherfucker. Still real sore about it. Thanks for checking in on me, Craig.
How's your knee, by the way?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. My hip is still purple. My back really
wow.
hurts. Need to go to the chiropractor, but I'm okay.
It didn't look nearly that bad.
I don't know what
my
you
hip is
saw.
No, I sent you the knee.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw
No,
his
my-
knee
okay.
looked bad.
The goose egg was the length of this mouse.
Yeah.
And probably stuck out this far from my knee. It looked like my kneecap moved
Yeah,
down my
it
leg.
did look like he had a second kneecap.
And my hip is like totally purple. And I need to go to the chiropractor.
Yeah.
And then when I was in bed, Kendall's like, well, we're going to watch an episode. And I just laid there uncomfortably while she watched an episode of it on her phone.
That's very nice of her.
Yep. So that's what I watched this week.
That's
Right
exciting.
on. So I guess what comes to the end of this week's episode.
Look at that. Less than an hour. You're welcome, guys.
We nailed it.
If you guys made it this far.
Yeah.
If not, well, what the fuck are you doing? Come on, man.
No, if not, no one's hearing this.
That's true. Well, I'm pretty sure my mom doesn't even listen anymore, guys, so...
Yeah.
Hi, Mom, if you're there, but probably not.
Maybe there's someone listening. There's probably somebody listening. It is a podcast after all. There's always listeners for podcasts, right? Right?
That's what I was.
Allegedly.
That's what our podcast service provider keeps telling us.
But I download one every week.
There we go. Anyways, thanks for listening this week, guys. Tune in next week.
Talk
Bye.
about stuff. Bye.
Bye.